Okay, everybody, good late afternoon, edging into the evening here. Hope you guys are doing well. And we've got some training camp updates today. We had practice number 9, and we don't necessarily have a lot, but there was some interesting stuff that happened at the VMAC today. We also have a little bit of a Hard Knocks update, because I know that everyone's excited about that tonight. So let's go ahead and cover that ground before we get to the training camp stuff. So I've been told by multiple people that the episode of Hard Knocks tonight is going to premiere on the app at 6. If that is indeed the case, then I can watch it at 6, finish it by 7, and probably get a video out by about 8. So if that is the case, I think that's probably better than saving it for tomorrow morning. So that is the new plan. I'm going to watch the episode, and I'm going to do something for Seahawks on SI on it, but I'm also going to make the video and try to publish it tonight. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. If you can't watch it tonight, watch it tomorrow. That's fine too. But I think there's a pretty big difference between getting something up by 8 and getting something up by 11. More reasonable. Okay, so that out of the way, just something to keep in mind going forward. Let's talk about what there is to talk about with today's practice. One roster note here, Garrett Nelson, outside linebacker, kind of a edge rusher, has been signed, and Kyrie Duplessis, I think is how you pronounce it. I mean, I'm not too worried about it now because he's been waived, but the running back that we signed to replace Kenny McIntosh has been waived, so Garrett Nelson is in. Not really a lot you can say about him. He played at Nebraska for 4 seasons and was actually a fairly significant player for them across that 4-season span, especially the last 2 years. He was a pretty consistent presence for them defensively, but since entering the NFL, he hasn't played yet, and I don't think he's been active for an NFL game. He's been on a few different teams, but I don't know if he's ever actually even been activated for a game, much less been in a game. I don't believe that he has, so not really too much to say there. Again, camp body, but nothing wrong with that. All right, so that's the roster note. Going beyond that, I didn't hear any injury updates yet today. Maybe they'll come a little bit later. But to my knowledge, we didn't get any new information about injuries from today's camp. But the insights we got. First, I want to lead with this, even though this is from last night. So it kind of pertains to previous practice sessions more so than this one. Ray Roberts had this tweet based on his observations of training camp so far. And I wanted to go ahead and take a look at this because he does have some things that I haven't seen from other people. And I want to go ahead and put this out there because Ray Roberts, I think, has good insights here. So first point he makes, Abe Lucas looks more agile, quick, and athletic. Notes that he played banged up most of last season, which, I mean, it stands to reason that any NFL player is going to be banged up to some extent, but it is interesting to note that Abe Lucas was apparently playing through stuff last year because I don't think we knew about that. I don't think that was something that the team had mentioned. I don't recall him showing up on any injury reports in any big and obvious way. So if we're getting a better version of Abe Lucas this year, I mean, remember, this is the first year of that extension, which right now is looking like a bargain when you look at what these other right tackles are getting. Like, Darnell Wright got basically double what Abe Lucas got earlier today. So that's exciting. Very optimistic about Gray Zabel as well. So we've heard pretty decent things about Zabel so far in camp, so that's not contradicting anything. But it is worth noting that Ray Roberts is very high on where Zabel's going, and if he can play the way he played in the last 5-6 games of the season, you got something pretty special. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer. Best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today, and remember to always gamble responsibly. Bo Stevens has short arms, so that I know that's kind of a weird thing to say because it's more of a tautology, whereas the other things he's saying are like more based on his subjective observations. But the short arms thing is something that I've talked about before, which is why I've wondered if maybe he'll end up playing center, because usually centers have the short arms. So he sees it too. Looking forward to scouting him more. So it sounds like he's not really sure what to make of Stevens yet. Definitely worth paying attention to. Need to see more of Bradford. The big Ray jury is still out. So there's been a lot of positive things said about Bradford so far in camp. I think that what Ray Roberts is getting to here is that there's still a lot of bad. So at the end of the day, we're probably just going to have to live with that. And we proved it last year, but sounds like he's still on the fence a little bit. Also gave Nicky Manwari some love for being locked in, even though he's not actually on the practice field. So good to hear. So a couple of interesting insights from Ray. Moving on from that, though, Torrey Horton did practice today. That would be the closest thing we got to an injury update, but at this point, that's not really an injury update because he's practiced almost every practice so far. But I think this is his 5th day in a row. So really good news there. He's looking good, making plays, like what I hear, encouraged. So if you were wondering about the Torrey Horton stuff, we look like we're on the right track. Greg Bell pointed out that Noah Igbenogany had a good day at nickel, which, by the way, a couple of people were asking on a video I posted a few days ago. Noah Igbenogany is pretty much a pure nickel in my mind. He's like 5'10". I think he's right around 5'10". So I don't think you can put that guy on the outside. So that is the only place he can really latch onto ultimately. And apparently he had a good day today. So haven't heard his name very much so far. That's good. Also shouted out Emmanuel Wilson, trying to seize a short yardage role at the running back spot. So I've heard mostly good things about Emmanuel Wilson overall. So I know there were some people before camp saying they didn't think he could make the team, but at least at first, I think he will. The general sentiment that I got today was that the defense looked really good because the offense has been looking a little bit better lately. And that was something that people were noticing. The offense was kind of, I don't want to say ahead of the defense, but they were looking shockingly good. So the defense seemed to provide a little bit more today. Cooper Kupp did score a couple of red zone touchdowns from Darnold. So Kupp's actually made some plays in this camp, which is, I take something away from that because he's a veteran and he's been in this league a long time. He could easily be one of those guys who takes training camp off and doesn't take it seriously, but he's engaged right now, the same way DeMarcus Lawrence is engaged for this stuff when he doesn't necessarily have to be. But Riley Mills got another positive shout out as a rusher, and he's probably been one of the most positively talked about Seahawks so far in camp, along with Price and I would say Shaheed, probably one or two other guys. But those are the guys that I keep hearing about the most positively. Maybe Horton, but mostly because just Horton's out there, right? Because he hasn't been out there in a while. Also, positive shout out for Ty Okada. That's the first time I've really heard Ty Okada's name so far in camp. Multiple pass breakups for Ty. So he must have heard about Bud Clark doing really good lately and was like, I got to fight a little bit if I want to keep that job. So good stuff going there. And the main attraction today was coordinator day. So all three coordinators got up on the podium and talked at some length. So there wasn't necessarily a lot we were able to get in terms of like on-field notes, what happened, the plays that were run, the players that stood out. There wasn't a lot of that. This was kind of the big pull of today's coverage. So you had Brian Fleury, and Hawk Blogger asked a lot of questions of him. Definitely check out what Hawk Blogger was asking him and some of the responses on his X account. I'm sure Hawk Blogger will be making a video or stream of his own at some point talking about those exchanges as well. But he talked a little bit about how Sam Darnold is very in control and how much mastery he has over this offense and how they're implementing stuff that he liked from Minnesota that they didn't have last year. So very encouraging. They have a good chunk of the foundation of their offense installed. Makes sense why He made sense of why it makes sense to wait in putting on other parts of the scheme. So you can see that in other than the play calling part, which we don't know about, it sounds like he's doing everything right. And this is how this guy got this job, right? He sounded extremely smart and like he had a handle on everything in the interview. And he talked a little bit about this in another exchange, talking about how you have to dictate to defenses with your play calls and exploit their rules. And he sounds like somebody who knows what's up. He really does. He sounds like he knows how to do everything when it comes to running an offense in the NFL, except for the play calling part, which we'll find out about in the next few months. And I do want to stress that it is possible for a coach to be a brilliant play designer and brilliant at getting a team ready over the course of the week, brilliant at coming up with a plan, but then not be able to handle play calling. It is a different skill set. Matt Nagy, to me, is a great example of this. Matt Nagy is a great play designer, but I don't think he's a good play caller because he doesn't have a good feel for the flow of the game. So that's kind of the last puzzle piece here, but you listen to him talk, you listen to what he says, you listen to what he thinks. This guy's good. This guy is good in so many areas. Just hopefully he can be good at that last piece of it. So that is kind of the big takeaway today, the Brian Fleury stuff. Sounds like he knows what's up, man. And look, there have been plenty of offensive coordinators throughout history who sounded like they knew what they were talking about, but ultimately couldn't quite get it done. But so far, I like what I'm hearing and I like what I see. Durde was also up there doing some question and answers on the podium, talking about Riley Mills. So again, Riley Mills is the guy who we keep coming back to as the Seahawks go through their training camp. And seems like you're not going to be able to hold that guy down. Now, I don't know how many snaps we're going to have for him. I don't know how much he's going to play this year, but it sounds like he's going to take full advantage of those snaps. And look, there's a lot of benefit in ensuring that guys like Leonard Williams and Jarran Reed have something left to give in the postseason. So, especially Jarran Reed, that's a guy who might barely play in the regular season, and Riley Mills is a guy who can help make that happen. And I understand that Durde isn't the play caller, and he's not ultimately the guy that really runs this defense, but he's clearly doing something very right, and there's a reason why he will probably be a head coach next season. We also got some stuff from Brady Henderson as well. He was also up on the podium as well, talking about Emmanuel Henderson Jr., because we all know that was kind of Jay Harbaugh's pick, because Emmanuel Henderson is a special teamer before anything else in the NFL. So he talked about what he's seen so far out of Emmanuel Wilson. Sounds fairly positive. Talked about some of his strategies when he's practicing on special teams, what he's doing to maximize reps, what he looks for when the offense and defense are practicing. So got to get inside his brain a little bit as well. So that was cool. Definitely check that out. But yeah, I think that is really about it. I know there wasn't necessarily a ton of insight today, but most of the insight we got was from the podium stuff, which definitely if you get the opportunity to watch that stuff, go check it out. It's insightful, and it does remind you that it sounds like we're in really good hands on every level of this coaching staff, pretty much. Okay, I think that's really about it. I'm going to go and get out of here. Again, if Hard Knocks does drop at 6, which is right now less than an hour away, I should be making a video about it and probably posting it around 8. All right, see you guys then. Go Hawks, and everyone have a good rest of your day.